Good morning, it's Trainer Tip Tuesday, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about some kickboxing techniques. Carolyn Thompson, this is for you. First of all, I want you guys to know that I am certified in Turbo Kick, which is a Beachbody Live format. It's kind of a dancey kickboxing. It's not official kickboxing. So for those of you out there that are like, that's not how I learned to kickbox, that's not the point of the kickboxing that I do, okay? I've also done core de force. So, and some of the cues, some of the tips translate regardless of what format you're doing. But I want to be clear that the purpose of my form cues is as it relates to kickboxing as a form of exercise. So I'm not looking to give you tips to be able to go out and fight. All right. So, but there are some really important cues if you do, like I said, turbo kick or core de force or any group fitness kickboxing class, turbo jam, turbo fire. Several of those are Beachbody programs. So, and if you're like, man, that sounds like fun, let me know and I can connect you with some of those programs, because to be honest, you guys, kickboxing, turbo kick and core de force are the two programs where when I've done them, and I teach turbo kick every week, I feel the strongest. I notice the biggest difference in my body when I was doing core de force every day, and I've actually gone back to doing that for that reason. So I'm going to stand up and back up so you can see full body, and I'm going to give you a few general tips, and then yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, so first thing you need to know, when you're in a kickboxing stance, your stance needs to be about 45 degrees from your target. Okay, so you can see between my legs. I call this in class, if people are like this, I tell them to get off their balance beam and get on railroad tracks. So imagine two tracks, one foot is on one side, the other is on the other side, slightly behind. That gives you a better stance, more stability, right? Then the other thing you need to think about is staying a little bit low, soft in your knees. Why? If you're thinking about, if you've ever watched somebody box or kickboxing, actual kickboxing, you got to be able to move fast. If you're like this, you're going to hurt yourself. So get down a little soft in your knees, hands up in guard by your face, all right? I think Shalene Johnson in one of my first turbo kick rounds said, think about it as if you have two phones. One's calling your friend, one's calling your mom. Keep your hands up in guard. Shoulders down and back, and your core has to be engaged. Tip number 1, most important, you've got to engage your core. When you're doing any sort of rotational movement, you have to keep this tight or you're going to hurt your back. Also, that's where the power comes from here to about here. That's really where the power comes. So you're here, you're soft. Tip number 1, your core is engaged. Tip number 2, this back foot, anytime you rotate your back shoulder to the front, has to lift up. So a lot of different ways I cue this in my class. I lift your heel, or sometimes I say drive through your hip. Your whole body rotates to come across. See how that happens? You'll have a lot more power there, and it protects your knee. If you stay like this, look at my knee, you're going to hurt yourself. So that back hand coming across your body to punch is called a cross. And you've got to pivot, okay? Pivot through the balls of your feet. I tell people when they come to my class for the first time, if you forget everything else I tell you, that's number 1, besides keeping your core tight. Pivot through the balls of your feet. I don't care if people stand in class and do this and don't get any of the punches, as long as their feet are moving and their core is engaged. That's going to protect your back and protect your knees, which are 2 of the most common injuries in kickboxing for group fitness purposes, okay? So, a cross, a jab is that front hand comes out and punches away. The other thing, when you punch, rotate so your palm goes down and then pull it right back in. So we'll do jab, cross, jab, cross. Still pivoting every time. Now, if you want to add intensity to this, exhale on every punch. That forces you to engage your core, okay? So those are a couple of punches, and those cues about lifting your heels. Point with your hip where you want the punch to go, okay? I'm going to show you 2 kicks, and then I'm going to call it a wrap for today. Reason I'm showing you these 2 kicks is because this is the most common problem I see with kicks. So a back push kick, again, this is for turbo kick, okay? This is strictly turbo kick, or turbo jam, or turbo fire. I'm probably a group fitness kickboxing. So anyway, I'm on my railroad tracks. You're gonna step, I'm gonna back push kick to the back wall. Important, important, important. The higher you kick, the lower your head has to go. Why? Because if my head stays up and my leg goes up, I arch my back and that hurts. I'm gonna turn to the side a little bit so you can see. So hands up and guard, step, leaning forward, pull my knee in and extend it out, pull it in, set it down. So I'm actually kicking kind of, you hear my hip pop, I'm actually kicking kind of at an angle, not directly behind. All right? Pull it in, push it away, pull it in, set it down. All right, so you can kick low if you need to. That'll still get your glutes engaged. Look where you're kicking. That's the other thing. The other thing with back push kicks. I see a lot of this. And while that's good and all, the tendency is going to be to arch your back. You want to keep your core engaged, keep the arch out of your back. Look where you're kicking. Also, if you're in a group fitness class and there are people behind you, you don't want to kick them. All right, so that's a back push kick. Back push. If you are new to these moves, but you are doing a group fitness class or turbo or any of those things, I highly encourage you to practice these moves in your living room, in your bathroom, wherever, when you can really focus on form and not try to keep up with the instructor. That's how I learned. Okay, so that's the back push. Side push kick is the other one that I see a lot of wonky form with. In a side push kick, your hip comes up first, and then you pull in, my toe is pointed down, hands are here, you're going to extend out, pull in, and put it down. My foot, my toe points down the whole time. You've got to lift your hip first to keep your hip joint in alignment. I see a lot of this. That can really hurt your hip if you're not careful. So push your hip out first and then push the kick away. It's the same motion as a back push kick, except to the side. You got to lead with your hip. Point your hip where you want that kick to go, and then place it down. And again, practice. Practice, practice, practice. All right, so those are a few kickboxing tips. Core engaged the whole time. Pivot through the balls of your feet. Point your hip where you want to go. And the kicks. All right, hope you have a great day.